gentlemen, Waterfall.
Back when we were in high school, Michael and I, your hair could not touch your ears or your collar, or you'd be sent home to get a haircut.
I had rejected my stepfather's notion that I needed to get my hair cut to go visit my grandparents for my 18th birthday. That resulted in him saying, well, you either cut your hair or you move out, and I left the house. I lived in an attic, and a friend of mine moved in with me. His name was Jake.
Haight-Ashbury was just rising up. It was not unlike the beatnik movement of my parents' generation. It was about love. It was grand. It was free. It was beautiful.
Now, we were a little young for the hippie movement. We were like 3 years behind its real peak, but the message was really thoroughly engraved.
And we admired it and wanted nothing more than somehow to become a part of it. We got out of high school and a razor didn't touch our faces and our hair grew fast. It was happy and free.
Russ and I and John formed a band right after high school, and we talked Russ into singing. John was the drummer in the band that I got hired into in high school, and he was really good. We had a PA. Mick Martin's old Bogan PA system, which had A7 500 Voice of the Theater speakers. Essential in those days.
Dad's band was a really good little blues band in Sacramento.
One time I think we played as the John Young Blues Band, and one time they wanted us to be Thad Sanka and the Coffee Beans, but I said no, because I don't even drink coffee.
Victor had a band. He was way into the surf guitar scene.
Mike was in my band, always was. If I joined another band and there was a bass player, well, that bass player would go, because if you want me, Mike's the bass player. And so we did that a few times.
We got together with Victor for a jam, I think. I think Victor came over and we jammed, and it was really outrageous. We liked it. And so, I don't know, I think it was a New Year's Eve thing up in Tahoe.
We were at this wild party in Tahoe.
Everybody's doing illicit substances. And I got the idea we should just form a band. Just do it. And I asked Victor if he was in, and he said, yeah. And Mike was the bass player in Victor's band, so he said, I got a bass player. John was in, Russ was in.
And that was part of our coming together around the natural beauty and the streams. And so we had that kind of connectivity because we were all nature lovers at the same time.
We decided on Waterfall. I don't know who came up with that. I don't remember.
I have absolutely no memory on how we came up with that name. None.
I remember two moments that seem to be connected.
The water part and the fall part?
The water and the fall part.
Okay.
I remember sitting around and spinning this wine bottle and drinking and talking about the band and what we were going to do. And we landed on the word waterfall.
I love that story.
And boom, it was 5 guys together renting a house, forming Waterfall.
Everything was changing musically like this. Of course, the British invasion had come in, and my love of Elvis Presley and my pompadour went out the window the night I watched Ed Sullivan. The Beatles had come, and everything was changing.
And we lived in this funky little house, started growing our hair longer.
The hair was just getting, as we'd say, good in the back. It's getting good in the back, which meant you could put a rubber band in it and it would generally stay in.
We weren't going to play pop. We were not going to go down the mainstream. It had to be B-side or no side.
Waterfall was birthed in this great American revolution of music touching young people.
We were just young hippies, and we were in that political fervor of anti-war. That started it. So we started writing our original material for the band, and one of the first songs we did was called Soldier.
Soldier, S-O-U-L-D-I-E-R, thank you. Soldier began with, I can't see any reason for me to try and be the man some people want me to be.
I can't see any reason for me to try to be the man that people want me to be. Got a mind of my own.
I got a mind of my own, but they won't leave me alone. I know what I want, but they don't know what I need.
A friend of mine said, would you come with me to audition this band? And here was this band all living together and practicing in his house in Carmichael. And we went into audition. It turned out to be Waterfall, and they were fantastic. Within a week, I was their manager, and within 2 weeks, I moved into the laundry room and kind of set my desk up off in the corner, and I had a bed next to the washing machine. So I moved in with these crazy folks, and that's how we came together.
Our basic problem at that point then was transportation. And we had a big road trip coming up to Idaho, Boise, Idaho. And while we were there, Al saw the Boise school bus company was selling school buses.
I bought this yellow school bus, drove it back through a snow blizzard.
He drove a 66-passenger school bus back down.
But what we didn't know is that it's illegal to drive a yellow school bus unless you are a school bus driver or a school district. So we got a big ticket for that. And one day the guys rented a spray rig and painted it white. The guys stripped it all out.
We redid the interior so that the equipment could be loaded in the back.
We had a cage where all the equipment went.
Built bunk beds in the front.
Beautiful bunks.
And retained just a few of the bus seats.
A huge table. We could all sit around and play cards and talk and everything hippie bands did.
And a clothes hanger so that you could hang your stuff on it.
All of that was under Mike's leadership. It was just a magnificent magic bus.
It was just the five of us. Rock and roll, blues, you know, some original songs even, which, woo. And all of a sudden, we kept getting together with the girls and singing.
Both from our high school, that would be Judy and Nancy. Girls who were not yet part of the band, but they were hanging out at the band house occasionally.
We weren't groupies or anything like that. We were just there to listen to.
Yeah, we kind of were.
Judy and Russ were kind of seeing each other. Nancy and Thad were sort of seeing each other. So there's a little bit of that, but they could actually sing.
It just sounded really great. Victor and Mike said, let's get the girls in the band.
I think they wanted you to join because they thought you had a really good voice. But the only way to get you to join was to ask me to join too.
join together.
So I think I was just kind of a second thought to you. You know, it's like, oh, I don't know, if we ask Nancy, we better ask Judy too.
And so the five of us had a vote, and it went in favor of the girls. And we were 7-piece. The 2 girls and the 5 guys, 7-piece.
I never had a thing to call my own. I never found a place called home. But still I'm happy 'cause I'm not alone.
My appendix burst
I remember
and I
that.
went into the hospital. Russ never came and visited me at the hospital. Mike came and saw me, and that's how Mike and I got together.
Yeah, part of me and in my song.
Nancy was underage, and so we would go off on these road trips, and we'd have to drive her back sometimes because her dad was very, very strict. And so a couple times we didn't bring her back, and I would always be the one that'd have to answer the phone. Nancy's dad's on the phone. She's fine. I'm taking care of her. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Everything like that.
I was a Mormon. I went to Brigham Young and was vice president of religion at American River College. And through that, I was introduced to the WATERFALL band. I became the sound man. And so the musicians, they embraced me. And I was really happy.
And Jake is a part of this too, but not in the band. He played guitars. He knew all the songs that everybody wanted to sing.
Musicianship was something that bonded us before the band. Thad, Victor, and myself, we all worked in the same place, a little store called the Music Box. We developed our friendships quite a bit there, and then Russ came along and he was managing the place.
So playing music together in that sort of informal, just for fun fashion began to create the friendships and the relationships.
There was a period of time when I felt like I was very much a part of the band early on and most of the way through the beginning.
Jake was always hanging out with us, okay? But he wasn't in the band.
Then Russ says, hey, I've got my sister.
A little 16-year-old gal from Las Vegas who'd already released a single. Happened to be Russ Keith, our lead singer's sister.
So I was in a band in high school with other high school classmates. I was the singer. I also had a little solo gig going on where I played my guitar. I wrote some songs. And I cut a 45, side A and B, and they played it on the radio.
She came out, had been hearing about it from her brother and chance to move to California. She came out to check it out with her brother's okay and blessing and assuring the family all would be well.
They were still a newly formed band, so they might not have been playing that much, but I was hearing stories of gigs they had done, and it sounded very glamorous.
So listen to the little single that she had cut. It was very amateur, but she had a wonderful voice and different voice than the other two girls.
I liked them, and I loved their voices.
The girls sang together, and then it was like, well, should we make her part of the band?
Having female background singers are really part of the group that had equal status and input and stage time. That was new in our period.
Darkness falls around me, my path begins to stray.
I remember the evening that they did gather together as a group and actually put it to a vote. But fortunately, they were all agreeable to some degree or another.
We had a vote, and I voted against it. I, to this day, get harassed at that.
Kelly moved in with us and became our third singer.
And it was really lovely to be up there with a group of other musicians that were, you know, just putting their heart into it and were so good at what they did. And I loved the music.
And everybody was, but me, was absolutely right. She was the perfect third girl in the band. She had a unique voice, became one of my very, very dearest friends of all time. So I lucked out that I got overridden.
Low winds blow, whoa.
Our voices together were angelic.
Rain, clouds, rain.
And it was easy to sing
We
together.
just melded together very naturally.
Yep. We knew right where we were supposed to be.
Blow, winds blow, whoa. We understood the different levels of the harmonies very well, and we could ad-lib on those harmonies very well, but it was the unique sound of your voice and the unique sound of your voice and mine that just, for some reason, it just worked.
Mm-hmm.
Rain,
And oh my, what we were able to do with those three. We just took off as a band at that point. We really became known and appreciated, and we just quickly grew to love one another as well. It was more than a band, it was a family. It was a family.
There we were, Waterfall. Thad and Nancy got together early on. Then Kelly and our drummer John, they got together. And then Judy and I became a couple. And of course it was all love. It also came with certain perks. Remember Victor told you we had a bus.
that was our band bus. We had bunk beds in there.
So if you were a couple, you were guaranteed one of the bunks. Then when you got to the hotel,
The single guys would have to do the bunk beds, where the couples, meaning the girls and the guys that were coupled up, they would get the hotel rooms. And during the winter, we'd have a heater, and we would run an extension cord out of the hotel room to keep the bus warm. And then all of a sudden I noticed it was really cold. Well, the reason why is because they pulled the extension cord out of the socket. And so they were all looking at me to see how long it would take for me to go hopping through the snow.
And we would travel around, to do all these gigs.
My job was to get those bookings.
Russ drove the bus about 75% of the time.
That's because he really didn't trust other people's driving. He couldn't relax.
He would sit for hours and hours, smoking cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, just driving the bus. Russ was a smoker. I didn't like that about him. He couldn't talk to him about it. He just wouldn't listen. He wouldn't.
And we would take ironing boards, oh my God, pots and pans, food, because we would stay in motels that had kitchenettes to save money.
Jake he's called the Big Dirt.
Yeah, Fred kind of helped build that up into the whatever it is that it is.
Jake and I have this love-hate relationship that is so funny.
We were marveling, admiring on one of our pit stops, the countryside, but I made the comment of all the big dirt out there. And for whatever reason, it got people laughing, and Fred picked up on it. I was probably really high, and that was probably part of it. All of us were probably really high, and that was probably part of it. But the big dirt kind of stuck, and it stuck for a long time.
Now you got to remember, there were 10 of us with me. There was 10 of us all living together. So you break that down to the kind of money we were making, that was pretty small. We had no trouble qualifying for food stamps. But we were making $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 a night.
And we were living in a workable commune. We didn't worry about money unless we needed cigarettes, and then they'd come to me because I'd give them cigarettes so I didn't have to wash the dishes that day.
Hippies just believed that things could be better. They went to looking for a new way to do old things, to put our focus in places that would change our behavior to be more humankind. And there was a lot of great study, a lot of great philosophy, a lot of expression, and a lot of debate. Many different opinions on how to do it, how to get it done.
Hey, listen, we smoked a lot of dope back then.
We did drugs, yes. We were not radical in drugs. We misbehaved at times, but we were law-abiding for the most part. We were not anarchists, but we believed in challenging authority.
And through our music and our travels, we got to very much be a part of the hippie movement.
We were courteous, we were clean, we didn't stink. There was nothing evil about us. We just wanted to be musicians.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, if you had a lot of weed, you could be close to us too. But you couldn't be crazy. We had our standards.
We have to switch guitars, so can I take a second?
So we were doing a gig in Reading, for one of the high schools up there. It was a senior prom. The bus was parked way far away from the gymnasium where this was going on. Did the set, go out there, and we were smoking some pot out in the bus. And I said, guys, there's cops outside. So everybody gathers up the stuff. The smoke was billowing out of the thing. So they come in, and sure enough, well, they couldn't ruin the prom by arresting the band. Thank goodness. So they set all those guys back in there and kept me in the bus and grilled me and did everything they could to scare the heck out of it.
We once got caught in a city that will remain nameless in case there's still a warrant out for us. I don't know what the statute of limitations is to have a foreign exchange student in your bus and be getting stoned out of your brains with them when you're the band playing at their graduation night. Our manager came in, very white-faced, closed the door, said, guys, look out the window, and we were surrounded by cops. We've been told that if we just pass up everything we have, then we can go finish the gig here and go home, there won't be any problems. Well, that's not true, because back then, if you had any marijuana at all, you could be thrown in jail and on and on. We said, okay, sure.
We had a little hole in the floor of the bus where we could throw everything in there and get rid of them.
And so we moved the carpet away, and we very quietly dropped just numerous things for about 10 minutes that would go under the bus. We pulled the carpet back, and we saw the manager go out, and the student The foreign exchange student who'd been kidnapped was released, and I think we ripped off the cover of some matches and passed that up, and that's all we had to show.
Did we get kicked out of Weed, California?
Yes, high school.
Kicked out of there for
Because we were
drugs,
smoking pot.
Or weed.
They kicked us out of town. They said, pack up your
Never
stuff.
come back.
And get out of town now. We don't even
To
care if
this
it's
day-
midnight. Go finish your gig and get out
Yeah,
of
we
town.
did finish the
gig.
To this
Yeah.
day, driving from Oregon to California and from California going back and having to go through Weed,
think
it
about it.
all resurfaces in
That's
my brain.
so awesome.
I can't go into Weed. I was kicked out
Yeah,
of Weed,
if you're gonna
California
know
for
who you are.
Weed.
At that particular time, there was a lot of riots going on, and there was a lot of standoffs and police action versus peaceful protests.
Long hot summer. Musically, it was the better of our protest songs.
It was a cry out to the people to realize that this is only going to get worse if we don't take the action right now to make it better.
So this song, we did not have the lyrics first. Sometimes you do. This song, we had the music first. Almost all of it. We wrote other parts as we went along. No words, no words, no words. Somehow, Russ and I were assigned the task to leave and not come back till we had words. Okay, got a blanket, got some food, got a few beers, a little something to smoke, if I remember right. We sat and drank a little bit, smoked a little bit, and after a few hours, I said, hey, we need to come back with some words or not come back, pretty much. And he just spoke the words out. It was a simple song. It was a warning song. It's going to be a long, hot summer if we don't come together right away. Part of that was a theme that was just reverberating through power to the people, through our generation, the conflict with the government, the Vietnam War, the protests were going on. Kent State, we had college students shot and killed on the campus. So again, that sad theme throughout humanity, that the one thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history.
The Vietnam War made no sense to anybody that wanted to just step back a little bit, ask a couple of questions. The answers did not appear. There was also a draft, which meant that you didn't have a choice. You got to serve by being drafted.
It was macabre. You would watch on TV.
Mayberry RFD will not be presented tonight because of the CBS News special report, The Draft Lottery.
They would turn the crank and this huge cylinder would have balls in it.
Almost joke-like. We're going to take a little bouncing ball with a number and it's going to fall through a little rack.
Like a bingo party, if anyone knows what bingo is. And the balls would come down.
When the ball comes out on the date that you were born, that's your number.
They'd link it to a day on the calendar.
And when I got number 74, and they were drafting everything to, I forget what it was, 160, then I got drafted. And John, the drummer, got drafted.
I remember my precious father, who was a World War II veteran, helped save the world, as many of our fathers and mothers did. He'd say, Vic, if you get drafted, the entire family, we're packing up, we're grabbing you, we're going to Canada. You won't serve in this war. I'm thinking of my dad, who said, we're getting out of here. I don't want to run, but I won't carry a gun, and I'll never kill a man to make another one free.
Well, I'm gonna run and I won't carry a gun and I'll never kill a man to make another one free.
I was one of those that got drafted. My draft number was 52. I got a student deferment to keep me from actually going into the service. I don't regret it. Sometimes I think about it, and I think I might have done things differently, but at that point in my life and at that time in my life, I was completely, 100% opposed to the idea of going and shooting people and killing people and, you know, everything that went along with it.
My number was 333. If I would have been 100 or 90 something and they called me down to my physical, I would have gone.
If you didn't go, then you faced the stigma of being a resistor or an anti-American or some of the other things. And so what do? Now, I have hair to my waist. I have to meet downtown Sacramento with a few hundred other people, get on a bus, go through these examinations that are called the pre-induction physicals. On the bus coming down there, I got super stoned. We smoked hash the entire way down. On the bus, remember, we're chatting it up with all the guys. Some guys are there, they already shaved their head because they're enthusiastic. Others were scared to death. We're all just kids. We have no idea what we're in for. Of course, I'm in there and I'm faking everything. What? I can't hear. Oh, my back is bad. I have terrible arches on my feet. And I got to the end of the line, and you would get a yellow sheet or a pink sheet. And if you got the yellow sheet, you had to get in this line and follow the yellow line back to the bus you came in on. And if you got the pink sheet, you had to follow this line, and it went to complete your induction ceremony. Well, I got the pink sheet. So all of my faking didn't work. So I'm inducted. I wadded the pink up, I threw it away, and I got in the yellow line. I went all the way through the yellow line, and nobody ever stopped me. I got back on the same bus with the same bus driver that I came in on, and many of the same guys that were on that bus going back to Sacramento. I knew I was illegal, and so did everybody else because I didn't have my slip. And John, the drummer, did the same thing. He got stoned, the bus driver pulled over in a parking lot, let us, and we were too young to buy liquor, so he went in and bought us all cases of beer. We drank beer on the bus, we went back home, and 3 days later, I got a knock on the door. The MPs were there. We can arrest you right now, or we can be nice to you and we'll give you a few days to gather your things together, but you're inducted. But during that period of time, the pressure on President Nixon to stop the draft was great enough that he changed the classification for all of us who were drafted, which our classification was 1A. So then changed that classification to 1H, which is basically in holding. So I didn't have to resist the draft in the formal sense. I did not see Vietnam. It wasn't that we were trying to not be American. It was just the opposite. We just didn't believe that America was being honest. We wanted America to be honest and fight a real war for a real reason. Sign me up for that.
Hey, do you know what you need? Come on, you are making it so unreal. Don't you feel what is meant for you? Backing down to where you are won't ever do.
We were pretty protected. in our suburban, central Sacramento, California, Northern California environment.
Ron Nelson rented us a house on Mason Way.
Until I lit a big fire in the fireplace and almost burned the house down.
That was the house that Victor and I started going to school in.
That's when they changed the voting age to 18. There was Nixon versus McGovern. And there was no question in anybody's mind that you're going to vote for McGovern.
We met a lot of musicians in the music theory class. We were long-haired, anti-Nixon, anti-war, but these kids were all, probably most of them were Christian or Christian families. They were Republican. We invited some of them over to our house to jam, some of the horn players. And man, that was outrageous. And I think one of the horn players introduced us to Lee. Oh my goodness. After one time playing together, we talked, we want him in the band. We wanted him in the band. That's done. And so we had to talk him into it.
What, really? Seriously? You're bringing in somebody else to do the keyboard parts? Really? Okay. And so that was kind of, in my mind, they don't want me to be part of the band. So I left.
So when Nixon won, and not even close, it was like, what are all these people thinking? Are we this unique?
But it was there that we met some really great friends right next door who were always out preaching Jesus to us. And so we had this routine going where we would leave to go somewhere, and they would say, praise the Lord, and some of our guys would say, smoke dope, or something like that back to them.
Long story short, Ron Nelson, he said, I've got a farm for you guys. Come look at it. See if you'd like to live there.
It had gone under many years before.
We looked, we said, yeah, it was filthy. It was a mess. It was just a mess.
By that point, I was going to start my own agency and manage Waterfall. There was a nightclub in town that was just opening called Crabshaw Corner, and it opened in early '73, and I became one of the owners of this nightclub.
He owned the largest nightclub, live nightclub, and live music was a big deal back then.
And so they moved out to the farm, and I stayed in the city.
We went from the comfort of being, teenagers and basically teenagers living under the roof of someone who was providing for you.
Right.
To going into this musical environment with a bunch of hippies.
So many of the great artists would sing about getting back to the land, Woodstock, and on. It became a theme even for us guys that grew up in cement all around us.
And
making a home. That was extraordinary.
Yeah, it was a great experience. The farm was beautiful.
We cleaned up the whole place, outside, inside, painted it.
With some leftover paint from an army surplus. It was just an awful color. Heck, we didn't care.
I'm gonna move out to the country. I'm gonna paint my mailbox blue.
Everybody had a bedroom. First time.
Karen and Richard lived in that little back room, little closet room back in the back. But then we also had the milk truck out back.
Yeah, I was going to say the sauna.
The sauna.
Move out to the country.
It looked like something out of a movie set.
I think I'm gonna paint my mailbox blue.
He's gonna leave and paint his mailbox blue.
I move out to the country, yeah. Yes, I'm gonna paint my mailbox blue.
So blue, so blue.
So that's where we ended up living, and it was absolutely a dream come true.
Yes, I'm gonna plant some flowers, some shade and vitamin D. Thank you.
We had 140 acres eventually. 2 beautiful farmhouses, the biggest barn in the entire county, 3 stories, massive thing.
Well, we had the chickens, we had the goats, we had the horses.
To this day, I don't know how we had horses.
We had the dogs.
I don't know who fed them, but I'm serious, every morning they were alive.
Roo the rooster.
But I woke up one morning and there were cattle, right? There were cattle on our 140 acres.
Then Mike said, hey, let's make this a garden. And it was about 1/3 of an acre. And we cleaned the whole thing by hand. And then we planted. I mean, we even planted okra.
So all this hard work to build this garden, and we had to leave occasionally to go on the road. So we left, and there's a watermelon about this big.
Beautiful watermelon.
Just lovely stripes, but it was just young. We go on the road, we come back a couple of weeks later, this watermelon's like this.
Beautiful.
It was just...
I named it.
But we didn't know... Yeah, you did.
Jubal.
We did not know...
How do you remember that? It was my watermelon. Keep going. It's a sad ending.
I
It's
loved
a sad
it
story.
too.
Did you?
I loved it.
Not like me. Go ahead.
So one morning, Victor's out there working in the garden by himself, and he knows that watermelon's got to be getting close. So he said, I'm just going to cut a little tiny peephole into the watermelon.
I saw a guy do it at a store once.
Uh-huh. So he cuts the little hole in it, looks down in there and says, oh, it doesn't look like it's quite ready, maybe tomorrow.
I put it back. I put the divot back, like at the store.
Uh-huh. Came out the next morning, what'd you find?
Nothing. Shriveled up jubal, dead.
So we never did. I don't think we ever got,
We never got a watermelon.
out
We
of it.
scared the rest of them off.
In the meanwhile, we dug the island and we had ducks. We'd eaten some stuff out of the garden, but the corn was up and the ducks had moved in and birthed a bunch of ducklings. And when we got back from our road trip, the ducks were full grown and the corn was trampled down and there was none of it was left. They ate it all. And in 3 weeks, those ducks were full size. We should have eaten the ducks. They would have been great. But we didn't. Of course we didn't.
Musically, we were known as a really good group of musicians. Most of that was Thad down.
He has a natural affinity to hear harmony and to play with feeling and to pick up, you know, certain parts of the song and just take off into the sky with his fingers on those 6 strings.
Thank you. That's so fine. We're so excited. Thank you very much.
I wanted to be a driving force as far as the color of the music, and we used to just jam it.
So what we expected to happen was we'd get a record deal.
Warm it up for bands like Johnny Winter and Steve Miller, playing around the corner from the Allman Brothers, and, you know, touching a lot of really good musicians in the day.
Sacramento back then was not a hotbed of the music scene that it is now. So I would go to San Francisco and talk to the record executives there, the agents, the managers down there, go to Los Angeles and try and do the same thing.
Bill Champlin went on to write prolifically for Earth, Wind, and Fire, for Chicago. Their roadies would come to our farm, and we would wine and dine them, and they would shake their heads and go, "We're sleeping in the vans. We're on food stamps. We have 5 albums. What are we doing wrong?" We opened for Elvin Bishop, and he finally did Fool Around and Fell in Love and a few other songs where he got some guys in the band said, "Elvin, let's write some songs so we can pay our bills." We were having too much fun as a band to take our music as seriously as you would need to reach a higher level. For instance, writing songs that could be reduced to 3.5 minutes and get a single out there, because that's what everybody ended up doing.
We would criticize other bands that did that.
No doubt. Sellouts.
Yeah, the sellouts.
The sellouts, yeah.
If
Yeah.
you can't do a 15-minute epic song with at least 4 different solo breaks, then you're not a band.
Right. We were doing our music, man.
We did do some recording, but we never were able to sign a record deal. Bill Champlin says the phone would ring and we would answer the door. So that was kind of our problem. We were at the wrong place at the wrong time way too many times.
Tonight's kind of a special night because this is the last night Lee Gradanos, our piano player, is going to be with us.
I remember one very specific trip. We had an opportunity to play in Seattle, and we had to go a long ways out of our way to play this gig, but there was something that was important about it. During one of our breaks, a man came up and introduced himself to us. He was asking us about doing some more commercial style material.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you have any other things you write that are more of the pop genre or radio element music? And Thad introduces himself. That's not who we are. We don't do that. We won't do that. That's part of that sellout attitude that we had. And so the guy just said, well, sorry that you're so closed-minded. It's unfortunate. You're a really talented band. If you ever grow up, give me a call. We found out afterward that that gentleman was the American agent for the Beatles at the time, was responsible for putting them in many of their venues in America when they had come over a number of years before.
Stupid. My gosh.
Wow. Don't remember.
We were young kids, we were pairing up, we were developing our ability to have another significant person in your life. And it was more than just dating, where you could just date for a while, or you could be boyfriend and girlfriend for a while, and then, oh, this isn't working out, I'm gonna break up. No, because if you broke up with the band member, that put potential turmoil into the whole band fabric. There was a lot of fixing and repairing that was helping to keep the couples together.
Our wedding was out there, and there were all the people in the front from the church singing church songs, and all the people in the back taking saunas and smoking pot.
We were not religious at all, except with our apparent love of marijuana. We really loved that religiously. But when it came to morals, there was something just kind of built into each of us. I'm sure through our parents, we didn't preach to each other. That was good. It was good.
I hate to be so cliche, but sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, it was the music. We loved music.
Don't leave out the sex.
We weren't doing that. The guys, when they would have a girlfriend, and actually the three women in the band became long-term girlfriends, wives, in some cases, to band members, and they're faithful.
I remember one of the managers wanted to put the girls in hot pants.
So he pulls me aside and says, listen now, we can get a lot more gigs if you would just put them girls in hot pants. And he wanted to sell a sexy girl up there.
And then on our rear ends was gonna be WATERFALL. And I was gonna be Tur. So there was no way I was gonna be Tur. Oh yeah.
There's no way we were gonna get in hot pants.
No, when we turned around and bent over, it was gonna say WATERFALL.
So that becomes a whole different kind of a show.
So it became a running joke within the band for a long time. Put them girls in hot pants. Absolutely not what the band was about at all.
Yeah, it's a legendary story.
Legendary.
You know, our hair was all down to here and so on, but we were not radical by any stretch of the imagination. For the times, I mean, we smoked dope all the time. Look, we've done our cocaine and we did acid and not all the time, but you know, we looked really much more radical than we really were.
Hippie is, when I hear the word hippie, it's a stereotype of a certain picture of individuals that don't have any responsibility or that don't resonate to me. It was not us.
I think that people that looked at us thought we were hippies because we were very stereotyped, as Nancy said. I think that people back then were stereotyped.
Russ and I one day were at the laundromat. We hadn't finished our laundry room. We were doing our laundry, and we were just looking the way we looked, and some dear country boy walked in because our ranch was in Rio Linda, and he gasped and came up and was just in awe that he was in this room with real hippies, because they're generally in San Francisco, and he was chatting us up, and he, after a while, got the nerve to ask us, and I've repeated this line so many times, because he was dressed in his goat farming, cowboy, whatever you want to call it, regalia. And he said, well, let me ask you, what do you think of my satire? There was somebody who had heard us in West Hollywood, could be North Hollywood, and had a studio and was going to comp the studio time, which was rare. Wanted us to come in and record. And we did. He was excited about some of the things we did. Some of them were within that 3.5 minute, 4 minute range. Sounded fabulous. It was an unusual time in my life because my rock and roll dream had become a nightmare. It's the best way of saying it. I just got bored with it. And we hear stories over and over again about people who do make it big, and sadly, it doesn't help that empty spot in them, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I was really looking for something else.
Send me on, my Jesus, call me home.
We would encounter Jesus freaks, for lack of a better term, when we were out on the road. And we just didn't want anything to do with them, but we were polite suburban kids, and so we would listen to them.
These Jesus freaks would follow us everywhere, seemed like. It was a movement happening in California, and so many times they'd show up in harsh Armello. And we were kind, though. We would argue with them and listen.
We were playing at one of the biggest clubs in LA, a very famous club. We just didn't rock the room that night.
We sounded horrible.
And we packed up the bus at 2 a.m, and I said, I'll be right back. I went inside to wash up.
So we threw all the stuff in the bus, and we were all packed up, and we really weren't doing the head count.
And we got in the bus, and Russ took off.
Came out, the bus was gone. The bus was gone.
I guess he wasn't paying attention to everybody getting on the bus and us leaving.
Oh, real funny. I'm tired. Okay, guys. I lean up against the wall and wait, and wait, and wait. It was a little chilly out, so I sat down and waited, and I realized they have loaded up the bus. They're asleep in the bunks. They're heading back from LA to Sacramento tonight. And they're gonna get there when the sun comes up. Hey, where's Victor? Uh-oh, and they won't, and I look off into the distance, and there's a bright neon glow, and I look at it, and it says, was it called?
Melodyland.
I had just gotten an article from my mom she cut out and sent to me about this new Christian movement in LA, and it's where musicians went who'd become Christians, and they were funneling this new belief into a faith path of music. And I had just begun looking into the New Testament. And I'm thinking, well, God cannot get any louder than this on this side of earth. The band left me. I'm sitting here. I never knew about this place. And wow, okay, God, you are real. I'm hooked. I'm yours. To me, it really was an easy decision at that moment. I smiled, brought my leather jacket with the beautiful fringe close around me, cuddled up warm as could be in my newfound faith, and closed my eyes and dozed off.
And partway, somebody realized, we don't have Victor?
I don't know how long I was asleep. Couldn't have been long at all, but I hear the roar of a jet engine or something. It was the bus. It was our bus. It was about 10 feet from me. The lights go over my face, and they'd come back.
We were just a bunch of spaced out people. Forgot poor Victor.
Someone noticed I was gone, and they opened up the door to come in.
We didn't want to.
I know you didn't.
That must have been terrible for him.
And I hear muffled giggling in the back because they don't know if I'm going to be mad or what. And I get on the bus, and I was smiling. I think I said it out loud, maybe quietly. I said, boy, did God just trick me? And I thought about it all the way home. They
were in Portland, and I was here, and he called me about his experience, and I told him, I says, well, that's really odd because I had the same experience. And so, you know, we both kind of had a similar awakening, if you will, with Christianity. And it was very shortly thereafter that I was asked to play in the band.
The band travel and the farm was a seedbed for new ideas and opportunities of what mattered in life, for us to go discover it. And that's where the spirituality started seeping in.
We were all having kind of the same experiences on the road. You know, we'd stop and we'd pick up Jesus freaks because the Jesus movement was happening.
Right.
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
then.
The Jesus freaks would intercept us when we were in the
Everywhere.
long lines when the gas shortage. You know, you'd be 2 hours waiting in a line to go get some gas.
And we would encounter these people, and they would witness, and they would talk about the love of Christ.
I think we had a bumper sticker that said, and God has given man every green herb from Genesis. I mean, we were funny and irreverent, but we would generally sit patiently as people would try to tell us about Jesus. And then little by little, we became enamored with him.
Victor's conversion was very, very big. And that kind of goes along with his personality. He's got a very big personality.
In my early days of faith, oh my gosh, I was a zealot one day, I was smoking dope the next, and I didn't really want to anymore, but I wanted to, and it was just, it's like that launch of the spaceship. Man, what it takes to get it off the ground is a lot. Once you're up there where the atmosphere is less or not existent, just a little push can move you around, but it took me a long, long time to blast off.
For me, it was much more subtle. And I think a lot of the values of Christianity were already within me.
I grew up in a home that believed in God, and we went to church. When WATERFALL, our band, got together and we experienced all the things that we experienced together as a group of musicians, and then moved in next door to some wonderful people that introduced us to the spirit of Christianity. That changed my life.
They were the ones who would say, praise the Lord to us. We walk out, and some of the guys would say, smoke dope.
I was exposed to the gospel message in a real way that I had never been exposed to the gospel message in my life.
We're sitting down in one of our breaks. He said, you ever wonder if God wants us to keep doing this? And we had never talked about it.
I was compelled to make a decision. Do I believe it or not? I decided it was true, that I did believe.
My dad had passed away when we were on the road, and I was either going to go into some deep depression and just go, what the hell does life have to offer? Or I was going to say, okay, God, if you're real, you need to show yourself to me, and I'm willing to give you part of my life and see if things change. And life did change.
You know, that was so appealing, I think, and really attractive to us because we were a generation of people who love really resonated. I mean, all the music was about love. Love is everywhere. Love, 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 you know.
It was all about love.
It was
all
love,
about
yeah.
caring. It was all about coming together as a world. It was coming about coming together under Christianity.
I think there was a great deal of confidence in our being Christians and continuing to play in the rock world because we were being successful at it. I mean, we were still doing wine, 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 but we were also doing Lord, Don't Move That Mountain.
We became better and better and better as a band.
Lord, don't move that mountain. Straight to planet A.
There were many churches that welcomed us like prodigal sons and daughters, and we probably were. We had had a few songs that we would do in clubs and that would introduce very softly, gently, not in your face, a hopeful Christian type message.
Why couldn't the two beliefs coexist? Why couldn't Christianity coexist with rock and roll?
We'd find old black gospel tunes, and we'd take those things and turn them on their head. People loved them.
I think I only wrote one song where I wrote the lyrics and the melody lines and everything. And I used to crack up because the chorus was, Jesus is a simple answer, and it sounded like Cheez-Its.
Just remember. Just remember. It's a simple way.
I was brought up in a Mormon family, so I did have a background of some type of Christianity.
Lord, I wanna be a Christian.
I had always had an awareness of God and Jesus. That was always a part of who I was. So it was a continually evolving kind of a concept for me, and my faith grew bigger and different as time went on. That was why I got married, actually. I did not want to be living with a man. I wanted to be married to him. And a lot of that was to not bring shame upon my family.
The first person to get married in the band was Russ.
Ah, yes.
And he married a young woman that was not part of the band. So that sort of started the trend a little bit.
Now we have Kelly and John, Thad and Nancy, Judy and Mike, Russ and Linda.
Victor and Karen, and Karen.
No, Karen was later. That was way later.
Way later.
Now we were into the early stages of Christianity, and it became important to test your faith by not taking birth control anymore. Now, that didn't mean you had to alter any of your other behaviors.
Well, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby in the baby carriage, that great American axiom.
I quit taking birth control pills, and I got pregnant because the other thing I wanted to do in my life, my dream life, was not only to be a singer, but then I wanted to be a mother. And that was starting to kick in for me.
No more birth control. Immediately meant that 2 of the 3 remaining girls got pregnant together.
I was pregnant and you were pregnant.
They would go on the road and be on tour and be visibly pregnant.
I was sad because you and Linda had all gotten pregnant, and I was like, oh my gosh, there goes our band.
So now we had 3 babies circling in the band world.
I think that must have colored how my brother, how Russ thought about the future. Obviously, he had a child coming.
We were thinking about all the things that we needed to do to be responsible.
Don't look at me.
It's time to make a change.
So Russ and Linda, ready to have a child.
That was Eric. Firstborn of the band, firstborn of Russ.
I remember the night Thad and I spoke. It was the night of a very crummy gig. And Thad, his question to me was, do you ever feel like God might be telling us not to do this anymore? Something like that. My answer to him is, well, Dad, I don't think God wants me to keep doing this anymore. And I really don't want to keep doing this.
And Thad gets kind of ticked about this deal. And so did some of the rest of us when we found that out. Because we didn't think that God was telling us to not do the band anymore. We thought God was telling us to figure out a way around having babies on the road.
Personally, I thought I was getting better at what my craft should be. I had just written a song and I had more ideas. And they were in the hopper. And I really had the juices flowing. But Victor absolutely was convinced he was following the Holy Spirit in him to quit.
So we had a band meeting or several, and I don't remember.
And he explained to everybody that he says, I think I've become a Christian.
I remember making it known that I did want an end date and that this is not what I wanted to do anymore.
I was pissed.
Mike and I didn't want the band to break up. We were like, no, we want the band to stay. We want to do whatever we can to keep the band going.
I thought we still had another season of opportunity and success ahead of us.
Streamline man, when he bought his ticket home, did he ever tell you that he left me on my own streamline?
I loved being on stage. I loved performing with Nancy and Kelly.
Well, he walked out this morning, didn't even say goodbye. Won't you tell me, baby, what's the reason why?
It was an opportunity for me to be creative in a way that felt so good to me. And we were all very creative.
I had been an official member of the band for about a year. And so it seemed like that thing which had evaded me early on in the band life, you know, after a year it was going to go away. And I had lots of music to offer, lots of ideas. But Victor started to develop a real big problem with being a Christian and being in being in the bar environments.
We were playing in a club in Salt Lake City, and
they loved us there, didn't they?
And you had to walk down these stairs into this dank, dark basement club. And I remember Victor going, well, here we go into the pit of hell. And I'm like, oh, please, Victor.
It wasn't just all flowers and patchouli oil and smoking dope. There was a lot of bad stuff going on in there.
We had friends that did die from drug use.
Yeah, just a lot of bad things.
I found sometimes it to be totally disgusting what I would see while I was playing on stage. Somebody peeing on somebody, just typical stuff that you just go, wow, bummer. And we're contributing to this.
I love my bandmates, but I felt like this is not going to be my journey in life.
Well, everybody has a different take on what happened to us. The women in the band got pregnant, and it became unsustainable because we were on the road a lot.
Babies change things, and children have a little bit of an effect on the communal life and the nightlife and the pot smoking life and the beer drinking life and all those things that went along with the rock and roll life.
You and I talked about it, that we could still work this out. You know, we would have the kids.
Yeah, there was a plan.
Really?
Oh, yeah, there was a plan.
The girls would stay home. The guys would go on the road. We would earn the money necessary to support the farm, and the children would be raised. And if we just took that time off, the kids would get old enough, then we could jump back in the bus and we'd go on the road like the Partridge Family or something.
Why didn't we work it out?
Because Victor was he was really decidedly gone. We also realized, and this is the bigger reason, I think, that we were at that fork in the road where we could either
make it big,
make it really big, and this is what it would require, or change direction. Is this direction, or we're either really doing this or we're not.
I would say that we needed to write songs that were under 5 minutes. And we needed to quit being a jam band and be note for note tight.
We knew it was going to take a lot of effort.
And we realized that life was now moving us in a direction with children and responsibilities, and being on the road was probably not really what God had in mind for us.
And ultimately, it was Victor that just decided he didn't want to do it anymore, wasn't going to do it anymore. And Thad agreed.
I could not negate that. I could not argue with that. I could not do anything but actually say, well, okay, you're right. You gotta quit.
We all knew instantaneously that we weren't going to replace an individual in the band and just continue on.
I didn't want to do that. So when I think that was it for me. That was it.
And when Thad agreed that was going to be the end of it.
We were all in it together. We started that way, and we were all in it together to end it that way.
And so that's what led up to the final tour. We had some bills. So we accumulated all the bills, figured out how much it was, and we booked them out on a tour, all to pay the bills. A couple places in Montana, Salt Lake City, I can't remember how many different weeks it was.
One last long road trip on the road for maybe a month or so, and went through a number of states.
We took all that money, paid all of our bills, and everybody got $50 each.
Which was a bonus. Which was a bonus.
We came back, did some dates here, the farewell shows.
Throw away the
And then that last weekend when we played at the club, I realized that this was probably the last time I would ever play these songs.
We have that recording, and Al's introducing us.
Well, for the last time.
See, now I'm going to cry.
10 of the greatest people I've ever known in my life.
His introduction
you are
was
bringing
just
back memories.
lovely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Waterfall.
And then here we go.
Are you feeling kind of lost today?
Here we are doing what we loved doing, and we did sound really good.
Inside, no more searching. Just open up your heart and see.
I think I even wept when we played one song.
To be reborn, now it's here to stay. You got it inside. No more.
But then Jake had too much to drink.
I wrote a song called The Snake.
And actually, it had ended up being a musical autobiography of Jake, the Snake.
And I got really, really drunk. And did some stuff that I, on hindsight, probably shouldn't have done. I think I flipped off the entire audience that night.
We flipped off all these people, you know, from the stage. And so everything was put in perspective right away. So it was sad, but it was just what it was. It was the end.
I met them the first weekend in January 1971. We folded up shop at the first week of November 1974.
There was no waterfall after that.
It's so good to see you. Come in, come in.
You're throwing a party 6 nights a week. For 6 years, I did this. And I said, you know what? I think I've had enough. And a month later, I put the place on the market and went and opened up a delicatessen, hired a girl, and I fell in love with her, married this wonderful lady. We're still together 41 years.
I sold all my equipment and had it with music. It just did. I stayed out there at the ranch for a while, and little by little people moved away. Tried to buy it at one point, but the big farmhouse didn't have a foundation, and nobody was too interested in giving a loan on that.
It was just the time when growing up interests started to dominate the idealism of being in a communal rock and roll band and trying to teach the world that Christian rock is a good thing.
Having joined the real world after the band and being responsible for a child and a wife and making a living and providing for their needs, I found out what kind of a level of commitment you have to have a career, have what you want.
All the boyfriends and girlfriends got married, but the times that they were, none of those lasted.
And life continued for each of us in different ways.
We're gonna sell that car, by the way.
Again, he wanted to be here.
So I'm not on call 24/7.
We would have gone.
I figure, I just sent out a group text the other night that said, it's Friday night, I'm listening to Waterfall, and I'm ready to hop on our bus and to go to a gig.
Okay. It was formidable.
Throughout decades, we would have reunions that were so splendid and rich, and we'd pick it up right where we left it. And at the Crest Theater downtown, the manager of Waterfall called us all back together, and it was out that 15, 16, 18 years ago or so, and said, hey, Sons of Champlain are coming into town. It's going to be fun. It was an extraordinary night. And it brought Kelly and her boyfriend, who then has been her husband now for many, many, many years, met him for the first time. Brought us all back together.
As time went by, in spite of the distance, and sometimes I think maybe because of it, we got actually closer together. I'm very saddened that Russ and John are passed. I was in on the end of John's life quite heavily, and he went out 2 thumbs up.
John was a very happy-go-lucky, very jovial, very easy to like guy, and a really talented, very talented musically, rhythmically talented player.
Russ Keith, who was really, calling him the front man, really minimizes who he was to Waterfall.
Yeah, my brother. It's hard for me that he's gone. When we'd get together, our conversation would be through music. We'd sit down, how you doing? Things are great. Let's sing some songs.
It was just a passing of an era.
So 39 years ago, we were a band, and today we're going to try to reminisce a little of that band moment.
Thanks to my dearest friend Michael, who had this crazy idea for a Waterfall reunion that would be more than just us eating and preparing our road trip favorite meals, which is always fun.
Today is the birthday of our beloved Russell Keith, who passed away a few months ago. Our lead singer, our big brother. Happy birthday, Russ.
Russ would be overwhelmed and humbled, probably a little embarrassed because he was such a quiet gentleman, and I'm so thankful that you're all here. Happy birthday, Russ.
I think of that memorial a lot. What I felt about him is so large, or what I feel about him, it was hard to even express at that time and in that venue.
Russ Keith's son, Eric Keith, flew down and is also a musician.
While they were practicing to sing their songs, I just kind of on a whim started singing with him.
Listen to the music.
We were just shot back in time.
They all kind of stopped and went, "You sound just like your dad." And so they asked me if I'd sing it. I always joke with people because I say, "Look, there's the picture of Waterfall, and I'm in that picture." And they'll look at it and they'll say, "No, that's me right there," right? Because on the porch of the barn, there's the whole band, and in the upper right-hand corner is my dad and my mom. But my mom was pregnant at the time, and so that's me in the photo. That song, Long Hot Summer, there was a backdrop of civil unrest at that time.
Gosh, 50 years later, yeah, identical.
There's definitely a lot of that same kind of racial tension, societal tension, and I think people try to express that through music.
50 years ago, we really thought that we were going to change the world. We thought that our desire for peace and the logic and the strategy and the humanity and the fervor would catch on and remain real. Because hippie was not just San Francisco, it was worldwide. And here we are 50 years later, and we're seeing protests, wars, disparity in economics, the battle against authority and those that are trying to deny authority. There's so many parallels from 50 years ago to the dilemmas that we're facing today.
And racism will continue to exist because it is a human condition of failure.
But we formed a companionship with anyone who was being oppressed. And that's one thing that led to a lot of our compassion and even into our the faith that we eventually all grew to hold. It was a lot about compassion.
We were about loving each other and respecting each other and trying to bring people together. And I would wish that and hope that somehow out of what's going on now, that respect, love, and compassion would come to the forefront. and not so much anger and bitterness and hopelessness. Could we have gone further? Who knows?
To me, that's one of those questions that doesn't have an answer.
But the amount of time that we spent doing that was wonderful to me. I grew as a human being during those 4 or 5 years.
Listen to the music, sweet natural harmony. Summer's close to coming, make you mellow as can be. Sun is not too far away.
In our little farm, our band, our experience of life together, we really were family.
But I can see black clouds and trouble coming down. Oh my goodness, hope we're not too late. Long, hot summer.
I think we were just all in the right place at the right time.
I think so too.
You know?
And that, I think, is a God thing.
Now I'm talking about the people living this.
Things that we would never have thought of that were components
Just
fall into place.
into
Yeah,
it,
they
right.
make so much sense and they build a story of who we are now.
Going to be long, hot summer. Work too hard to throw it all away.
Individually, we were all dirt poor. Collectively, we were very rich. Our friendships and, our lifestyle.
I'm blessed to have been a part of it.
It brings back so many precious memories. I'm very thankful for. It's not the water. It's my family.
But I can see black clouds and trouble coming down.
It's not just that Waterfall was good, it's Waterfall had 9 people that were really good together. And that is what really made it special.
Long, hot summer. Things don't come together right away.
Yeah, the music was what brought us together. But the real thing is each other.
Come too far to turn and run away. Going to be long, hot summer. Too hard to throw it all away.
food for the souls.
We are one in the Spirit, yes, we're one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit, yes, we're one in the Lord. And we pray that our unity may this day be restored. And you know we are God's children by our love. 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 By our love.
No, we are. Thank you. Thank you very much.